The alien queen said, "Do this for me, human." I never imagined what came next. Ethan Cross had never imagined his life would change in a single moment. He had spent most of his days aboard the research ship Aurora Star, drifting at the edge of explored space. Life on the ship was routine. Scientists collected data, engineers repaired machines, and Ethan spent his hours maintaining the ship's complex systems. Space was quiet and lonely, but he liked it that way. It gave him time to think, to plan, and sometimes to dream. But that day was different. The calm hum of the ship's engines was interrupted by an unusual signal. The alarm was soft, almost polite, but it pulled Ethan from the maintenance bay immediately. He hurried to the control room, where Captain Jara and the rest of the crew were already staring at the main screen. The display flickered with an incoming transmission, unlike anything they had seen before. Ethan squinted at the strange symbols scrolling across the screen. They were not any human language he knew. They glowed faintly, shifting as though alive. The message repeated in a strange rhythm, and then in perfect English words formed. "Do this for me, human." For a moment, everyone froze. The room was filled with silence, heavy and tense. The message was simple, almost casual, yet it carried a weight that none of them could ignore. Captain Jara leaned forward, her fingers hovering over the console. "Who is it?" she asked, her voice steady but curious. "No idea," Ethan admitted. "The symbols, I've never seen anything like them. It's not from any known civilization, but the language English is perfect, clear, no errors." The message repeated again, "Do this for me, human." And then, abruptly, it stopped. Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. Something about the message was commanding. It was not a request. It was an order, but from whom, and why him? Captain Jara tapped her communicator. "All stations report. Anyone recognize this signal?" The communications officer shook her head. "Negative. Nothing in the records matches this pattern. It's unlike anything we've ever encountered." Ethan studied the symbols again. They pulsed with a rhythm that almost felt alive, as if they were watching him. He had worked with alien signals before, but nothing had ever seemed so personal, so deliberate. Before anyone could say more, the room shivered. The lights flickered, the screens pulsed with energy, and a strange pressure filled the air. The hum of the engines deepened, resonating in Ethan's chest. The crew clutched tables and consoles, uncertain what was happening. Then, in the blink of an eye, Ethan was gone. He didn't fall, didn't feel a pull, he simply vanished. One second he was in the control room, the next he was standing on solid ground. But this ground was not metal or glass. It was smooth, almost luminous, and it stretched far beyond what he could see. Towering structures surrounded him, their surfaces glowing with shifting colors that reminded him of living coral. Ethan's heart raced. He was somewhere alien, completely alien. He looked up and saw the sky, a swirling mix of purple and green clouds dotted with unfamiliar stars. It was beautiful, terrifying, and utterly impossible. A sound caught his attention. A voice, deep and musical, filled the air. It was not spoken aloud, but somehow Ethan heard it in his mind. "Welcome, human." From the shimmering light ahead, a figure emerged. Ethan blinked. The creature was taller than any human, easily 3 times his height, with limbs that flowed gracefully like water. Its skin shimmered with patterns that changed as it moved. And at its center, standing on an elevated platform, was the most extraordinary being he had ever seen. The Zalarian Queen. She radiated power and elegance. Her eyes were like pools of liquid starlight, and her presence alone demanded attention. Ethan felt small, insignificant, yet she looked at him as if she expected something. "Do not be afraid," her voice echoed in his mind. "You are here because you are needed." Ethan swallowed hard, trying to find words. I don't understand. Why me?" The Queen's pattern shimmered brighter, almost like a smile. "Because only a human can do this. Only your kind can solve what others cannot." Ethan's mind raced. "Solve what?" she gestured to the vast landscape before them. Mountains glowed with molten energy, rivers of liquid crystal twisted and turned, and the ground occasionally shivered with tremors. Ethan realized with a shock that the planet itself was unstable. "Your world is dying," the Queen continued. "Its core is failing. Your people are capable of creating solutions beyond what even my scientists can imagine. You will design what is needed to stabilize it." Ethan felt a mix of fear and awe. This was no simple task. He had worked with complex machines, built engines, and repaired systems, but nothing like this. He wasn't even sure where to begin, and yet something inside him stirred, a spark of determination. He took a deep breath. I'll try." The Queen inclined her head, a motion that seemed both regal and gentle. "You must. Failure is not an option. The life of billions depends on your mind, your skill, your human ingenuity." Ethan felt the weight of her words settle on him. It was overwhelming, yet strangely motivating. Humans were often underestimated. Here, in the heart of an alien civilization, he could prove what his species could do. A guide appeared, a smaller Xylarian with silver luminescent skin and large, expressive eyes. "I will show you the tools you need," it said. Its voice was soft, polite, yet carried authority. Ethan followed, stepping carefully on the glowing surfaces. Every step made him feel more like an intruder, yet more aware of the incredible opportunity before him. The guide led him to a chamber filled with devices and machinery beyond human understanding. Consoles floated in midair, panels shifted and rearranged themselves, and holographic displays shimmered with three-dimensional schematics. Ethan's mind raced. He could barely comprehend the alien technology, but some patterns reminded him of human systems. Perhaps he could adapt. The Queen's voice returned, filling the room. "Your task is not just to build. You must think differently. Humans see the world in ways we cannot. You will bring what we lack. Your creativity is your greatest weapon." Ethan nodded, though his mind felt like it was spinning. He looked at the floating schematics, at the pulsing energy streams, at the trembling planet in the distance. This was bigger than anything he had faced, yet a part of him felt ready. Humans survived in impossible conditions, adapted to extreme environments, and created solutions when logic alone failed. Maybe, just maybe, he could do this. Hours passed as he studied the alien technology, learning its rules and limits. He experimented, made mistakes, and corrected them. Every failure taught him something new. The Xylarians watched silently, their expressions unreadable, yet he felt their attention, like they were measuring his potential, testing his determination. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Ethan paused. He had a plan, a fragile design, but a plan nonetheless. The Queen's presence seemed to shimmer more brightly, as if approving his effort. "Remember," she said softly, "the challenge is greater than you know, but your human mind may be the only key to saving this world." Ethan's hands trembled as he began to implement his first steps. He did not yet understand the full complexity of the task, but for the first time since he had arrived, he felt something he had not felt in years: hope. This was only the beginning. The Queen's demand, "Do this for me, human," was not just an order. It was a test, a call to action, and an opportunity to show that humanity could rise to challenges no one else could. Ethan took a deep breath, steadying himself. He was far from home, far from safety, and yet, for the first time, he felt truly alive. And somewhere in the distance, the planet trembled, as if it sensed the arrival of a human who could change its fate. Ethan Cross had spent hours trying to understand the alien devices. The Xylarians had provided him with machines and tools unlike anything he had ever seen. They floated, changed shape, and responded to thought as much as touch. At first, Ethan felt completely lost. Every attempt he made seemed to fail. Every calculation he tried turned into a puzzle he could not solve. Yet he refused to give up. Humans had survived in harsh deserts, frozen lands, and oceans that seemed impossible to conquer. If they could do that, he could face this challenge. Taking a deep breath, he began observing more carefully. The patterns in the machines, the flow of energy, the way the consoles reacted, it all made sense slowly. He realized he could apply basic principles of engineering, combined with creativity, to adapt the alien technology. The planet in the distance continued to shake. Ethan could feel its instability even from the chamber. Tremors rattled the floor, and strange waves of energy rippled across the room. The Queen had told him the core was failing. If he did not act fast, millions of lives would be lost. He thought of the Xylarians, a species far older and wiser than humans, yet they had failed where his unique perspective might succeed. That thought gave him courage. Ethan began building a model, a miniature version of the device that might stabilize the core. He used alien materials, twisting and connecting them in ways the Xylarians had never imagined. Every piece he attached made the device respond. Lights pulsed, energy flowed, and the model seemed alive. It was far from complete, but it was a start. The Xylarian guide named Lyra watched silently. "You think differently," she said finally, her voice calm but filled with meaning. "Other humans might panic. You adapt." Ethan smiled faintly. "It's all I can do," he admitted. "I don't even know if this will work." "You will learn," Lyra replied. "Humans solve problems when others cannot. That is why the Queen chose you." For the next several days, Ethan worked tirelessly. He slept little and ate even less, his mind consumed with calculations, observations, and testing. Sometimes he made progress, other times disaster struck. One device would overheat and explode in a harmless but startling flash. Another experiment would collapse when he tried to expand it to the scale of the planet. Each failure frustrated him, yet he learned more every time. During this time, Ethan began noticing the subtle differences between human and Xylarian thinking. The Xylarians approached problems logically, perfectly, without error, but they could not imagine outside their rules. Humans, on the other hand, could try solutions that seemed impossible, even ridiculous. Ethan realized that his advantage was imagination, creativity, and courage, the ability to risk failure for progress. One day, while experimenting with a combination of energy conduits and alien crystal cores, Ethan noticed a pattern. The planet's tremors followed a rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. If he could synchronize his device with that rhythm, he might stabilize the core instead of fighting it directly. It was a bold idea, risky and untested, but he felt it could work. Ethan approached Lyra with the concept. "I want to try something different," he said. "Instead of forcing stability, I'll let the planet's energy guide the device. We just need to sync it carefully." Lyra tilted her head. "It is dangerous. If you fail, the planet could collapse faster." Ethan nodded. "I know, but I think it is the only way." Lyra paused, then said, "Very well. The Queen trusts your judgment. Proceed." Ethan began constructing the new device, integrating human intuition with alien technology. He worked through the night, adjusting crystals, calibrating energy flows, and testing sensors. By dawn, a small version of the full device was ready. He activated it cautiously. At first, nothing happened. Then the device pulsed in time with the planet's tremors. The shaking slowed slightly. Ethan's heart leapt. It was working, not perfectly, but it was a start. He adjusted the timing, fine-tuning the energy flow. The planet's tremors diminished further, and he felt a spark of hope. The Xylarians, who had been watching silently, finally reacted. Some expressed disbelief. Others were intrigued. But Lyra simply nodded at him, her calm approval more powerful than any words. "You see," she said, "your approach, it works because you are human." Ethan smiled, feeling a small but powerful pride. Humans were not the strongest, the fastest, or the most advanced species. Yet their creativity and determination gave them an edge no alien technology could replace. Just as Ethan was beginning to feel a sense of accomplishment, a sudden alert filled the chamber. A group of Xylarians had gathered outside the main window, their expressions tense and angry. They whispered among themselves, clearly disapproving of Ethan's methods. Lyra glanced at him. Some believe humans should not interfere. They see your ideas as reckless. Ethan felt a surge of frustration. Reckless? They've been trying for centuries and I might be the first to succeed. How is that reckless? Lyra placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Do not worry. The Queen values your judgment, but you must be careful. Not all Xylarians see the benefit of human creativity. Despite their warnings, Ethan pressed on. He expanded the device, incorporating feedback from his small-scale tests. He worked carefully, but speed was critical. Every moment mattered. The planet's core was unstable and tremors were increasing. During the expansion, Ethan realized he could use his human ability to improvise. A crystal conduit had broken, and he had no replacement. Thinking quickly, he combined smaller shards, binding them with a fluid metal from the alien lab. To his surprise, the makeshift solution not only worked but improved the device's performance. The tremors reduced noticeably. Ethan's confidence grew. He began to understand the planet's rhythm, its energy flows, and how to manipulate them. The solution was not perfect, but it was working. Humans had a gift, the ability to see solutions that others could not. As night fell on the glowing planet, Ethan sat back for the first time and looked at his work. The device hummed softly, in tune with the planet's heartbeat. He had built something incredible, something that combined human intuition with alien technology. He felt a quiet pride. But then a shadow fell across the chamber. Ethan looked up to see several Xylarians entering, their expressions hard and serious. One of them, a senior advisor, spoke sharply. "You are meddling in matters beyond your understanding," the advisor said. "Your device could fail catastrophically. You are human. You cannot comprehend the complexity of our planet." Ethan stood tall, despite the fear rising inside him. "I know it is risky, but if we follow logic alone, nothing will change. Humans solve problems by seeing what others cannot. My solution is the only chance we have." The advisor frowned, clearly unconvinced. "The Queen will decide your fate." Lyra stepped forward. "The Queen trusts him. That is all that matters. Let him continue." Ethan turned back to his device. He could feel the tension around him, but he could not allow doubt to stop him. He adjusted the final calibrations and activated the full-scale device. Energy flowed into the planet's core, and the tremors slowed. The ground stopped shaking almost completely. The advisor's eyes widened. He had not expected success. Ethan, breathing heavily, realized that he had done what the Xylarians could not. He had taken a human approach, using intuition, creativity, and courage to stabilize the planet's energy. Lyra smiled faintly. "You see, human. You are capable of more than you know. This is only the beginning." Ethan felt a mixture of relief and excitement. The task was not finished, but he had proven something important. Humans were not weak, insignificant, or reckless. They were capable of solving impossible problems. And now, the Xylarians had a glimpse of what humanity could offer. That night, Ethan lay under the glowing sky, looking at stars that were alien and beautiful. He thought of Earth, of his home, and of the human race. They had faced impossible odds for centuries, and yet they survived. Here, on this alien planet, he realized humanity's strength was not just in technology or numbers. It was in imagination, determination, and courage. And somewhere deep in the glowing throne city, the Xylarian queen watched, her thoughts unreadable. She had chosen well. Ethan closed his eyes, exhausted but alive. The challenge had only just begun, but he knew one thing for certain. Humans had a place among the stars, and he had just begun to prove it. Ethan Cross had spent days stabilizing the alien planet's core. The tremors had slowed, the molten rivers were calmer, and the floating structures of the Xylarians seemed steadier. For the first time, he felt a spark of hope that the planet might survive. Yet even as he worked, he began to sense a tension among the Xylarians. Not all of them looked at him with respect. Some whispered, cast sideways glances, and sometimes he caught a hint of anger in their luminous eyes. Lyra, his quiet guide, noticed his unease. "You feel it," she said softly one morning. "Some Xylarians do not like your success. They see you as an outsider, a human meddling in matters they consider theirs." Ethan nodded. "I thought the Queen's trust would be enough." Lyra shook her head. "The Queen's opinion matters, yes, but politics are not always fair. Some will do anything to stop you." Her words sent a chill down Ethan's spine. He had faced technical challenges, dangerous experiments, and extreme conditions, but political opposition was something new. He realized that not every challenge could be solved with skill or ingenuity. Some required caution, observation, and strategy. That day, as Ethan was calibrating a network of energy conduits, alarms rang through the chamber. Red lights flashed, and the soft hum of the planet's energy became jagged, sharp. Ethan's heart jumped. Something was wrong. Lyra ran to his side. "What happened?" she asked, her voice tense. "I don't know," Ethan admitted. He studied the devices. "It's as if someone tampered with the system." Outside the chamber, a group of senior Xylarians were gathered. Ethan could see them through the translucent walls, moving quickly, whispering and pointing at the conduits. One of them, the advisor who had doubted him before, glanced in and nodded sharply. Something was clearly happening. "Sabotage," Lyra said quietly. "They are trying to stop you." Ethan felt his stomach tighten. This was not a technical problem he could solve with calculations alone. This was danger. Human survival often depended on quick thinking, and now he would need all his wits. He ran to the main control panel and began isolating each energy flow. "If they've tampered with the conduits," he said, "we can reroute power before it causes a core collapse." Lyra assisted him, her hands glowing with energy as she manipulated the alien devices. Ethan's mind raced. He had to act fast. If he hesitated, the entire planet could destabilize. Minutes passed like hours. Sparks flew from broken conduits, alarms screamed, and tremors shook the chamber. Ethan adjusted the device in real time, combining alien technology with his human instinct. Every decision was a risk. Every move could fail. Finally, he managed to stabilize the energy flow temporarily. The alarms quieted and the tremor slowed. Ethan collapsed onto a console, breathing heavily. He had survived the first attack, but he knew this was only the beginning. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "You are stronger than they expect, but you must understand they will not stop easily. They see you as a threat to their control." Ethan nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. "Then I'll have to be smarter than them." Over the next several days, the sabotage continued in small ways: power fluctuations, missing components, and unexplained errors. Ethan realized that he could not simply rely on his human ingenuity alone. He would have to outthink his opponents, predict their moves, and protect the device from interference. He began developing a strategy. He mapped the chamber, noting who entered and when. He monitored the energy conduits for subtle changes. He even created backup systems hidden from view. Each precaution gave him more control and confidence. One night, as he reviewed the system, Lyra approached him with a question. "Do you ever wonder why the Queen chose a human for this task?" Ethan paused. "I think it's because humans are unpredictable. We see solutions that others cannot. But there's more to it, isn't there?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, there is a reason beyond technical skill. The Queen believes that humans are capable of courage and adaptability that the Xylarians lack. You face danger without hesitation. You act when others hesitate. That is what she values." Ethan thought about this. Humans were often underestimated, even by themselves. Yet in this moment, on an alien planet filled with danger and political intrigue, His species' greatest qualities were proving essential. Just as he reflected, alarms blared again, louder this time. The chamber shook violently. Sparks and energy arcs flew from the conduits. Ethan realized immediately. This was a coordinated attempt to destroy the device. Racing to the control panel, he saw a figure attempting to manually redirect the power flows, an Xylarian saboteur. Without thinking, Ethan leapt forward, shutting down the conduit in time to prevent a catastrophic energy surge. The saboteur froze, clearly surprised by Ethan's speed and decisiveness. "You cannot stop progress with fear," Ethan said firmly, though his voice echoed strangely in the alien chamber. "If this planet dies, it is not because of me. It is because of those who refuse to adapt." The saboteur backed away, muttering in the alien language. Ethan knew it would not be the last attempt, but for now he had survived and the planet's core remained stable. Lyra looked at him with admiration. "You are more capable than I imagined," she said. "But now you must understand the larger truth." Ethan frowned. "What truth?" "The instability," Lyra said, "is not natural. It is caused by a rival civilization. They wish to conquer or destroy this world. Your task was never only about the planet's core. It is about survival in the face of forces that we cannot defeat alone." Ethan felt a chill. He had thought the challenge was purely technical. Now he realized it was political, strategic, and dangerous. The Queen had not simply asked for human ingenuity. She had asked for human courage, adaptability, and the ability to face threats no one else could overcome. "I understand," Ethan said. "Then we must prepare for more than just technical failure. We must prepare for sabotage, attacks, and deception." Lyra nodded. "Yes, and you are human. You can see solutions that others cannot. That is why the Queen chose you." Ethan felt a new determination rising. He would not only stabilize the planet, he would outthink anyone who tried to stop him. Humans had survived impossible odds on Earth, and he would carry that legacy here. The next day, Ethan worked tirelessly, not just repairing the device, but reinforcing it, creating backups and planning contingencies. He trained Lyra to anticipate potential sabotage and set up early warning systems. Every precaution made him stronger, and the Xylarians who doubted him began to watch silently, some with grudging respect. As he worked, Ethan began to feel a bond with the planet itself. It was alive in its own strange way, and it responded to his efforts. The tremors lessened, the energy flows stabilized, and the molten rivers cooled slightly. He realized that the planet was not an enemy, but a partner, if he could understand its rhythm. Late at night, he stood on the edge of the chamber and looked out over the glowing landscape. He thought of Earth, of humans struggling and surviving, and he felt a deep pride. Humanity's strength was not in domination or sheer numbers. It was in courage, creativity, and the ability to adapt. And now, in the heart of an alien civilization, Ethan was proving it. But he also knew this was only the beginning. The rival civilization, the political opposition among the Xylarians, and the planet's unpredictable nature meant that challenges would grow. Yet he felt ready. Humans were unpredictable, adaptable, and daring. That was their advantage, and he would use it. The Xylarian Queen had chosen wisely. And Ethan Cross, a single human, was about to show a galaxy what his species could achieve. Ethan Cross had learned to move like a shadow among the Xylarians who doubted him. He knew now that stabilizing the planet was not just a technical challenge. It was also a test of strategy, courage, and endurance. Every day brought a new problem, a new attempt to sabotage his work, and every day he survived, his confidence grew. He had become more than an engineer. He had become a strategist, a thinker, a human proving his worth on a planet far from Earth. The chamber hummed with activity. Ethan's new device, larger and more complex than anything he had attempted, stretched across the floor like a living web of energy conduits, floating crystals and glowing cores. Each component was delicately balanced, responding to the planet's tremors, its pulses, and its hidden rhythms. It was beautiful, fragile, and terrifyingly powerful. One wrong move could undo weeks of work. Lyra hovered nearby, observing his adjustments. "You have come far," she said. "Most Xylarians would have given up long ago." Ethan gave a small smile, though exhaustion weighed heavily on him. "Humans don't give up easily," he replied. "We may fail, but we keep trying. That's our strength." Lyra nodded, impressed by his perseverance. "Then let us hope your strength is enough. The planet's core is unstable. It will not wait for us to perfect this device." Ethan focused. He checked every connection, every conduit, every flowing crystal. The device had to work perfectly with the planet's energy patterns. Too much force could shatter the core, too little, and it would continue to collapse. He used a combination of intuition, trial, and careful observation, the very human approach the Xylarians had underestimated. Hours passed. Ethan adjusted, tested, recalibrated. Each minor success fueled his determination. Finally, he activated a preliminary cycle. Energy flowed through the device, syncing with the planet's tremors. The shaking reduced slightly. Ethan felt a surge of relief. He was closer than ever to stabilizing the planet. But then, without warning, the lights flickered. Energy arcs snapped through the room. The device pulsed uncontrollably, reacting to a surge in the planet's core. Ethan's heart raced. Something was wrong. Lyra's voice cut through the tension. "Sabotage. Someone is interfering again." Ethan's mind worked at lightning speed. He realized that one of the Xylarians, an advisor still loyal to the faction opposing him, had tampered with the energy conduits. If he did not act immediately, the entire device could fail, sending the planet into chaos. "Stay calm," Ethan told Lyra. "We can fix this." He leapt into action. Human instincts kicked in. He rerouted the energy flows manually, bypassing the tampered conduits. Sparks flew and alarms screamed, but he moved with precision. Lyra assisted, keeping the alien technology responsive to his commands. For a long moment it seemed impossible. Then, slowly, the device stabilized. The pulses synchronized with the planet's tremors and the immediate danger passed. Ethan's chest heaved with exhaustion, but he felt a triumphant rush. He had survived another attempt to stop him, and he had kept the planet safe. Lyra studied him, eyes glowing with approval. "Your mind is sharp, your courage extraordinary. You are proving what the Queen already knew: humans are capable of adapting when others cannot." Ethan nodded, still catching his breath. "It's not over yet. We need to finish this. The full device has to stabilize the core completely." Over the next several days, Ethan worked tirelessly, combining human ingenuity with Xylarian science. He integrated energy crystals, fine-tuned conduits, and programmed adaptive cycles that allowed the device to respond to any fluctuation. Every day, the tremors decreased slightly, and the planet's surface grew calmer. The Xylarians who had doubted him watched silently, some beginning to admire his skill. One morning, Lyra approached him with a question that had been on her mind. "Do you understand why the Queen did not send a Xylarian for this task?" Ethan paused, considering. "I think it's because humans see things differently. We take risks, make mistakes, and learn from them. We don't wait for perfect logic, we act." Lyra nodded. "Exactly. You are unpredictable, yet capable. That is why she trusted you to do what no Xylarian could." Ethan felt a strange pride. Humans were often underestimated. Yet here, on a planet far from Earth, his species' greatest strengths, courage, creativity, adaptability, were proving essential. He realized that this was more than just saving a planet. This was a statement. Humans could stand among the stars and make a difference. But challenges were not finished. One evening, as Ethan prepared the final sequence of calibrations, a tremor shook the chamber violently. Sparks flew, and a high-pitched alarm echoed through the hall. He realized with a sinking feeling that the planet itself was reacting unpredictably. Lyra's voice was calm but urgent. Something is destabilizing the core faster than we expected. You must act now. Ethan's mind raced. He adjusted the conduits, recalibrated the crystals, and synchronized the pulses with the planet's rhythm. The device hummed like a living organism, responding to every subtle movement. The energy surged, threatening to overwhelm it. Ethan took a deep breath and made a bold decision. He would amplify the device beyond safe limits, trusting his instincts. The hum of the device grew louder, energy flowing like a river of light. Tremors slowed. Sparks danced around him, but he held steady, guiding the energy with his hands, his mind, and his human intuition. Finally, the chamber fell silent. The tremors stopped. The molten rivers stabilized. The planet's surface became calm, glowing softly under the strange alien skies. Ethan collapsed onto the floor, exhausted but elated. He had done it. The planet was stabilized. Lyra approached him, her expression one of awe. You have done what many thought impossible. The planet, it listens to you. You have proven humanity's worth. Ethan smiled faintly, exhaustion fading into pride. We did it, he said. Humans can adapt, create, and survive. We can face impossible odds and still succeed. The Xylarians who had opposed him entered the chamber quietly. Some bowed their heads, others hesitated. Slowly, respect replaced doubt. They had witnessed human ingenuity, courage, and determination firsthand. Later, Ethan was summoned to the Queen's throne. She looked at him, her eyes pools of liquid starlight. You have exceeded all expectations, she said. You have stabilized the planet, overcome sabotage, and proven the worth of your species. Humans are not just survivors. You are problem solvers, innovators, and brave beyond measure. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. Thank you, Your Majesty, he said. I only did what I thought needed to be done. The Queen inclined her head. That is why humans are exceptional. You act when others hesitate. You see possibilities where others see obstacles. Remember this, Ethan Cross. Your species has a place among the stars, and I will see to it that your kind is recognized. Ethan left the throne room, his heart full of pride and hope. He had survived sabotage, danger, and the unknown, but most importantly, he had proven that humans had something unique. Intelligence alone was not enough. Courage, creativity, and adaptability, the human spirit, were the keys to survival in a vast, unpredictable universe. That night, as Ethan walked through the glowing streets of the Xylarian city, he saw the admiration in the eyes of the aliens around him. Some nodded in respect, others whispered about his bravery. He realized that he had not only saved a planet but had changed the way an entire civilization viewed humanity. He paused and looked at the distant horizon, where the molten rivers and glowing mountains stretched as far as he could see. The planet was alive, vibrant, and stable. And for the first time, Ethan felt that humans were more than just explorers. They were capable of shaping worlds, inspiring civilizations, and facing challenges that seemed impossible. Lyra joined him silently. The final challenge approaches, she said. The planet is stable, but there are greater threats beyond what you have seen. Are you ready? Ethan smiled, feeling the familiar rush of determination. I am ready. Humans have never backed down from a challenge, and we won't start now. She nodded. Then let us prepare. Your next test will not just measure skill, but courage, wisdom, and the very essence of what it means to be human. Ethan took a deep breath, looking once more at the glowing horizon. He had come far, faced impossible odds, and survived attempts to stop him. And yet he knew this was only the beginning. Humans had shown what they could do, and now the galaxy would begin to notice. The planet was safe for now. But Ethan Cross, a single human among billions of aliens, was about to prove that his species could face any challenge, outthink any foe, and rise to any occasion. The Xylarian Queen had chosen well. And somewhere deep in the throne city, the rival Xylarians whispered, realizing that humans were not to be underestimated. Ethan's journey was far from over, but he felt something powerful. The strength of humanity, shining brighter than any star, ready to face the universe.